You ever watch a moment and just know it's going to stick with you long after the dust settles? Yeah, that was the day the rich kid spit on Emily's apron and every biker in the county stood up, boots heavy as a thunderstorm, making sure no one forgot what respect looks like, especially not him. I'll tell you right now, you can have all the money in the world, but if you're missing the one thing that actually matters, well, buckle up because this is where it gets interesting. It was the kind of afternoon you only get out West Route 66 turning gold in the sun. The sky so wide you start to think you might fall right into it if you look up too long. The diner was nothing special, just a squat old place with windows always smudged, air thick with coffee, and a little bit of diesel from the trucks out back. Inside, Emily Carter was working her usual shift. 22 years old, hair always falling out of her ponytail, tired in a way that settles deep in your bones. But somehow, every time a customer walked in, she'd pull out that soft, genuine smile like it was something sacred. You know the type, those rare people who give kindness away like they'll never run out. Emily didn't have much. Her dad was sick, bills piling up, dreams on hold. But she had this stubborn hope that kindness meant something, that if she just kept doing the right thing, maybe the world would meet her halfway. The regulars loved her, but the ones most folks tried to avoid? That was a different story. See, most folks would cross the street to steer clear of the Hells Angels. But Emily? She poured their coffee, asked about their families, remembered how Beria, the biggest, scariest biker in the bunch, liked his eggs. To them, she was family, plain and simple. Not because she tried to impress them, but because she treated them like people, no matter what. So picture this. Emily's pouring a refill for Bear when suddenly the whole world outside the diner shifts. The steady rumble of Harleys fades, replaced by the high-pitched whine of something flashier black SUVs, pulling up so fast you'd think the president was coming for pie. In marches Tyler Hayes and his crew, loud and shiny and completely sure they own every room they step into. The kind of kids who've never had to apologize, never been told no, and never worked a day for anything. Tyler's the ringleader, good-looking, rich, used to getting away with it all. They plop down like they're slumming it, snapping their fingers at Emily, ordering her around like she's furniture. She just keeps that gentle smile on, takes their order, doesn't flinch when they try to make her feel small. And the bikers, well, they're watching, every one of them, silent and still. They know this game. Emily brings their food. Tyler looks at his burger like it's beneath him and says, "This looks like garbage." Everyone at his table laughs loud, cruel, the kind of laugh that aims to hurt. Emily, bless her, just offers to replace it, voice steady even as her hands start to shake. That's when Tyler leans back, smirk on his face, and spits on her apron. You could hear a pin drop. Even a jukebox seemed to choke on the next song. Emily just stood there, her knuckles white around the plate, her voice barely a whisper as she said, "I'm sorry, sir." Didn't beg, didn't snap back, just stood her ground, dignity somehow untouched, even as her cheeks burned. That's when Bear got up. You ever see a mountain move? That's what it felt like. The scrape of his chair was all it took. 49 bikers followed, boots on tile, no words needed. They surrounded Tyler's table, calm as you please. Not a single threat, but you could feel the air crackle. Bear leaned over and said, real quiet, "You think money makes you better than her? That girl works harder in a day than you'll work in your life." Tyler tried to laugh it off, but his voice came out small. Then Bear said, "You just disrespected someone we respect. You're going to make this right." Outside, every Harley fired Upenjani's roaring in unison, sending shivers down the spine of every single person who'd ever underestimated Emily or anyone like her. The message was crystal clear. You don't mess with family. They marched Tyler and his friends outside, didn't lay a finger on them, just surrounded them with presence alone. Bear told them, "You'll come back tomorrow, not as customers, but as workers. You'll clean, you'll serve, you'll learn what respect is." Tyler's friends looked like they wanted to disappear, but there was no getting out of it. And sure enough, the next morning, there they were, aprons on, picking up plates, scrubbing floors, taking orders under Emily's watchful eye. At first, Tyler was just angry, muttering under his breath, rolling his eyes, doing the bare minimum. But days went by, and something shifted. He started noticing how Emily never lost her temper, how she always asked people how they were doing, even when her own world was falling apart. He saw the way the bikers respected her, how the regulars joked with her, how every little act of kindness built something bigger than herself. One night, long after closing, Tyler found Emily out back, sitting on the steps, looking up at the stars like she was searching for an answer. He sat beside her, quiet for the first time. Finally, he said, "I'm sorry. It wasn't for show this time." He meant it. Guilt, humility, a new kind of understanding in his voice. The next morning, Tyler showed up early. Instead of an attitude, he brought an envelope inside, was a check big enough to clear every last one of Emily's dad's hospital bills. He handed it over, voice low. "This doesn't fix what I did, but maybe it helps a little." Emily just looked at him, tears in her eyes, but a real smile breaking through. The bikers watched from the parking lot, arms crossed, pride written all over their faces. Word got around small towns are good at that. Folks talked about the rich kid who learned the hard way, about the waitress who never lost her dignity, about the day the toughest guys in town taught a lesson that no amount of money could buy. And you know what? Tyler kept coming back not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He started helping out at a youth shelter, volunteering for kids who didn't have much, maybe hoping to give back what he'd taken for granted. Emily? She saved up, bought her own Placia little cafe called Second Chances. On the wall, right by the door, there's a picture of her and the Hell's Angels, all grins and arms slung around each other, with a sign underneath that says, "Respect costs nothing, but it can change everything." So, what would you have done if you'd been in Emily's shoes bit your tongue, or stood tall, quiet but unbreakable? Because truth is, it's not the big gestures that change the world. It's those small acts of courage, those moments when you refuse to stoop, even when life tries to drag you down. If this story hit you somewhere deep, if you believe in second chances, in standing up for what's right, in the kind of kindness that can turn a bad day around, owe me a favor. Like, share, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. And let's get real, though. You think respect is earned, given, or both? Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't change on its own. It takes people like Emily, like Bear, maybe even like Tyler, to remind us what really matters.